We'll call the Center County Board of Commissioners meeting to order here at 10 o'clock for our December 5th meeting. All those who are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Wanted to check if there was any public here for comment for items not appearing on today's agenda. You do have a comment that's not on, for something that's on the agenda?
Public comment.
Right. All right. But you're not like with the United Nations or any of the various
It
charities
used to
in
be,
today?
but I gave that up. There it
Okay.
is.
All right. Well, go ahead and approach the podium then.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning. My name's Dave Provan, and I'm co-chair of the Bellefonte Victorian Christmas celebration, along with Phil Breidenbaugh, who's right here. And I just wanted to bring this back around to the beginning of getting things going this year. And thank you for your intense consideration and generous grant that we received through the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau. Of course, it was critical in receiving that, and we put it to good use, as you'll see in the upcoming few days. For complete updated information, including a very extensive concert crawl, which we started last year. We started the concert crawl from church to church last year, from venue to venue, I should say, last year. You need to go to the Bellefonte Victorian Christmas website, which is bellefontevictorianchristmas.com. So even I can remember that one. And I'm not going to go on and on about everything because you can go to the website, but we're kicking it off with I call it a pop-up street gathering on Howard Street on the side of the Historic Museum. We're going to have the Victorian Brass playing from the balcony, the newly restored balcony. And then, while people mill around, we have a magician, we have hot soup, we have hot chocolate, and we'll have a proclamation from the mayor kicking things off. Then we're going to move up the street to the Presbyterian Church, where we will have the renowned Bellefonte Choir do a Christmas concert. And then, as if that's not enough, we have a group from the Nittany Valley Symphony this year at that opening concert. It's not, obviously not the whole symphony, but it's a group that will play. That's Friday. That's just Friday night. And then, of course, Bellefonte Victorian Christmas is Saturday with all the events. Second year for the cookie crawl, hugely popular. We have the Arts and Crafts Fair at the Y, as well as Bellefonte Elementary. And, I'm going to tell you again, if you want to know the latest in acts and the latest on everything going on Saturday, check it out. Notwithstanding, there's a brand new holiday model Christmas railroad at Bell Mercantile, all new, G-scale. We started on it in January, and we got as far as you'll see when you come and see it. My friend Dave Eastman, who's a professional set designer, and I built it, and our lovely wives, Janie and Cece, put up with us. So, and that would be what the mysterious envelopes are in front of you with the little Christmas edge on it there. Those are invitations to an event concerning that. So a new event at Victorian Christmas on Sunday while the outdoor, help me out, Phil, what do you call the outdoor?
Outdoor market.
The outdoor,
The winter market.
the winter market, while the winter market's going on, at 2 o'clock, we have a new event. And it's in the Big Spring Outlet Stream. It's a water event. No, we're not taking our clothes off and swimming in the cold water, with swimming suits, of course. But what we are doing is we're having a Christmas cruise on the creek. Ironically, it's sponsored by the Bellefonte Cruise, but this is a water cruise. So we sold sailboat kits at Art a la carte, and everybody's been busily decorating and assembling and painting the kits. That'll kick off around 2 p.m. It's the first time. It's a new event. And we're going to float them down to the little bridge that goes over to the sculpture park there, and see how that goes. So if you're into sailing, this is a must for you. They're yachts, okay, 2-foot-long yachts. So, Phil, is there anything else you'd like me to?
I think you got it covered. We just wanted to thank you for your support and encourage you to, if you have time, to stop by and see what's going on.
All right.
We'll be down.
We'll definitely be down, and I know Fritz Smith from the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau put in a very good word for Bellefonte Victorian Christmas. I believe it was this morning on a Harrisburg morning show on television. Speaking of television, you want to give Gary a quick 20 or 30 seconds about why people should attend Bellefonte Victorian Christmas? Look at his camera, not at me.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Well, it's good to see you too. We go way back. Well, you know, Bellefonte Victorian Christmas is one of the most exciting things in central Pennsylvania. I think the closest Christmas celebration would be up in Wellsboro, and that one's over. So now you have to come to the Bellefonte Victorian Christmas and enjoy the wonderful music, camaraderie, arts and crafts. Oh, and the Victorian players who will be out on the street. And we have a new group this year from the Class Act troupe. It's a production company from State College, all volunteer. It's a community type of a thing. So we welcome you to beautiful Bellefonte. It is so Christmassy here, and thank you very much for allowing me to speak on that.
And give him the dates, Dave.
Pardon?
When is Bellefonte Victorian Christmas?
It's
Face
the
the
8th,
cam-
9th, and 10th.
There we
It's
go.
Friday, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, yeah. In Bellefonte, downtown. Let's see, when, where, why? Because we love you guys, you know, and this is the way to go, Bellefonte Victorian Christmas. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Any more questions?
No, you do have the cookie event this year, Gary, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Cookie crawl. We're having a cookie crawl.
All right.
Yep, and this is for you, Dad.
Okay.
Hopefully you can make it. Bring
Thank
your
you
team
very much.
with you. Good to see you, too.
Great. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for coming.
Thanks so
Phil.
much. Thanks for
Thank you.
putting up with me.
No, no problem.
All good.
No
See
problem.
you this
If your
weekend.
wives can put up with you, we can put up
Why
with
don't you see you this afternoon if I can make it down?
See ya.
Thanks.
you. All right. Are there any additions to, any other public comment? No? Okay. Any additions to today's agenda from the commissioner? No? All right, moving on to the meeting minutes, do we need to make any changes to those?
Think so.
Nope. Okay, we'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the meeting held November 28th, 2023.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes for the meeting held on November 28th. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, now for our proclamation number 47, almost one a week here for a year. We have Robert from the United Nations group here in Center County, and I hear you're going to put on quite a shindig.
We hope so. So, good morning. I want to thank you for inviting me here. First, I want to start by congratulating you on your re-election to your positions as commissioners. I think you do a great job for all the residents of Center County, and obviously, the results of the election bear that out. So, congratulations and good to have you back. So I'm Robert Lumley Stepanski. I'm a resident of Benner Township, but I'm here in my role as a board member of the United Nations Association of Central Pennsylvania. The commissioners have been very supportive of our efforts over the year, recognizing the United Nations Day and participating in our usual wonderful UN Day dinners. And of course, as many things, COVID has, really put a damper on that over the last few years. We weren't able to hold those. And hopefully we'll be back next year with those dinners. So we are having a slightly delayed anniversary of the 75th anniversary of the United Nations by celebrating a significant milestone, and that's the signing of the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. It was championed and guided by Eleanor Roosevelt in response to the atrocities of the Holocaust and World War II. So the newly formed United Nations created this Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And as she, quote from her was, "Where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places, close to home, so close and so small that they cannot be seen on any maps around the world. Unless these rights have meaning there, they have little meaning anywhere else." So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a milestone document in the history of human rights. It was drafted by representatives all around the world and passed December 10th, 1948 in Paris as a common standard of achievement for all people. It set out for the first time the fundamental human rights to be universally protected, and it's been translated into over 500 different languages. The Declaration consists of 30 articles, the first of which reads, "All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood." While this is and was a monumental achievement, it is not a treaty and thus not legally binding, but it was the basis for many of the international human rights laws around the world. The United Nations continues to struggle to protect these rights, particularly for children and the undeserved. Just watch the news any night and you're keenly aware of the horrible violations of human rights present today, but the United Nations will not give up on these life-saving efforts. So the United Nations Association of the United States and our local chapter honored the 75th anniversary of the UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights with the theme of equality, freedom, and justice for all. We've invited the commissioners and invite all county residents to join the celebration at 3 Dots on Beaver Avenue and State College this Saturday from 3 to 5 for a brief program with music, food, and libations in celebration. So thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. I believe all 3 commissioners are invited. And 3 Dots is at the corner of Beaver and Pew. Kind of the back of it butts up against the parking deck.
Yep, so there's parking right next door, and hopefully it's free in State College this weekend, but.
It is, actually. I was
There you
downtown
go.
yesterday. They didn't charge me for being in that deck. Anything else you'd like to add about the United Nations celebration?
No, we'd like to see as many people as possible. Again, we've been hampered as everything by COVID, so this is our, premier back event, and hopefully we'll be back to get the dinners. As you know, we've had people from 40, 50 different countries show
Yeah.
up at our dinners, and next year, hopefully we'll be back running those.
Yeah, oftentimes wearing the colorful costumes of their native countries, which is always fun to ask them about the different clothing styles. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions or comments?
Thank you for bringing this to our attention and for this resolution. 75 years is a really major milestone. And I think it's a good point to reflect on how what brought the United Nations into being, and the fact that it was really looking back to the League of Nations after the First World War, an attempt that was not really successful. It was an ambitious attempt to prevent another global conflict like that. The United Nations creates a new structure, which, you could argue about whether or not it's been more successful, but it stood 75 years and has agencies that are doing really critical work all over the world. I have a book recommendation on the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, A World Made New by Mary Ann Glendon. tells it's really a compelling book, tells the story of Eleanor Roosevelt's role in the commission that wrote that, the Declaration. And it was really controversial at the time. It was not something that had a lot of universal buy-in as they were working on it. And it just took a lot of tenacity from her, working with officials in the United States and around the world to bring that into being. And it was coming after the Second World War when people were looking for a way to create structures that would kind of keep the United States engaged, concerns about the Soviet Union and its growing power. This was a time of Americans really looking to create structures that would create a world after 1945 that was different than the one that led to the Second World War. So recommend that book, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, and you mentioned as well, Eleanor Roosevelt, she was super involved in both the forming of the United Nations and then pushing for this declarations. And our United Nations Association, she walked across, when they started 75 years ago, she walked into the office and said, give me something to do, and she became the head of the UNA back then as well. And we've grown, and we have a chapter on campus, of course, our one in Center County now as well. They're all over the world, 200 plus in this country, so appreciate your comments, Amber.
Commissioner Dershowitz, anything you'd like to add?
No, I just think, I think your organization's been very active for a number of years, trying to do some great things, not only to touch Center County, but to touch the world, and really appreciate all that effort and look forward to participating in some of your events, so
Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Hang out there a minute. We'll pass the proclamation and then we'll present it to you. We can take a motion then.
I'll move to adopt Proclamation 47 of 2023, recognizing the 75th anniversary of the establishment of the United Nations.
We'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting proclamation number 47, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. All right, well, come on up, Robert. Let's make the presentation. We always like to have the guests.
Doing all right otherwise?
Oh, yeah, so good.
We like to have the
That's
guests
my wife.
sort of.
I was gonna say, she
okay.
can
She
come
can
up too.
move up too. Good, you're centered right on Belmont. That's right where we want you. There you go.
I'll take it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Your wife okay? You got enough? Okay, very good.
She has
Great.
enough pictures of me anyway.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself, thank you.
All right, and now for something that commissioners work on pretty much year-round, but especially these last couple of months. We've got Richard Killian, our Director of Budget and Finance, who is going to make a short presentation on the 2024 county budget. It's been out there for the required amount of time for public review and comment, and you're going to give us another run-through.
Just want to head down.
Thank you.
All right.
So we appreciate the commissioner's support during this budget process that involved installing a new budget software. We will build on this initiative to improve future budgets and provide hands-on reporting tools for management. Thanks to John's administration and my finance teams, the department managers, row officers, and fiscal professionals for everyone's effort in submitting a timely budget. This was truly a team effort. So we provided a full presentation 20 days ago when you adopted the tentative budget. We're not aware of any comments or questions from the public. And at this time, I just wanted to provide you with a highlight for your consideration. So no real estate tax increases, and I think this has been the 14th consecutive year. The county's tax rate or millage will remain the same. And the operating budget is $113.1 million. capital budget is $28.6 million for a total budget of $141.7 million. And prepared to answer any questions you may have.
Well, I again do want to mention for folks at home that majority of that $28.6 million is the Center Crest remodeling project is finally going to be getting underway, as we'll discuss a little later in today's meeting. But I'm sure there's some money in there for the courthouse, for the Willowbank building. I notice Norm here from 911, quite a lot of spend to keep the 911 towers and other support structures up and running as well. But thanks again for completing the budget. Actually, I think it was a week early this year. Always appreciated. And it's not quite balanced, but it's close, which is also great. Commissioner Concepcion, any comments?
Yeah, really big thanks to everyone in the administration and Jason Moser, our controller's office, all of the work that has been done with our finance team. This has been a really transparent process where we've been able to work through department by department to see, what were the pressures in terms of financial pressures that were on each department, where were there opportunities for some savings. And I think we can see the end result here is a budget that is focused on meeting the needs of people in Center County. So, and without a property tax increase at this time, and which is pretty remarkable considering the amount of capital investment that we do need to do and are pursuing at this time. So,
Steve, this is your 20th budget.
Well, thank you, Richard, for all your hard work. I know this isn't done in just a short period of time. It's something you work on throughout the entire year. When we look at these budgets, it's always a challenge to figure out your revenues and your expenses and how, to try to get them to match. And as we approach the next couple of years, there's going to be even bigger challenges. We talked a little bit about that before this meeting. But this is a pretty strong budget, and I think it puts us in a good position for 2024 and 25. I just hope we can continue to see the revenue streams and everything continue at least at the rate we've enjoyed them in the past. I just want to say thank you again for all the hard work that your whole team, the Controller's Office, Commissioner John, everybody who's and our folks in our office that have made it all happen. This is not done in a vacuum, and it's tough. It's tough to make those decisions, and not everybody gets the full measure of what they like. But I think this year we've been very fair, and I think we continue to represent not only the county but our employees and the aims of this board moving forward very well. So thank you again.
Thank you, Richard and team. It's a lot of work to put together county budget. We've got the $141.7 million. That's put together from 37 different row officers and department heads, the controller's office being the one kind of spearheading the project. As you mentioned, we installed a new budget software this year. That's never easy to do while you're doing actual budget at the same time. And would like to thank the over 100 nonprofits that Center County government helps fund. Our concern for the 18,000 or so individuals who receive direct county services, the roughly 28,000 people, obviously there's some overlap, but the 28,000 people who receive services from those 100 charities that we help fund. And the fact that for the 14th year in a row, we've been able to do all of this without an increase in Center County government property taxes. A big part of that is the hundreds of state and federal grants that we apply successfully for, and we appreciate our federal state legislators, the president and the governor, for their assistance in allowing county government and our, what is it, John, roughly 570 people on staff right now?
Yeah, it fluctuates
daily, yes.
between 540 and 560.
560, to provide all those services in an area larger than the state of Rhode Island. So again, appreciate everybody's help and support on this. Are there any other questions or comments from the public? No? Any questions, Gary? No? All right. Can't think of anything else, Amber.
Okay.
Go ahead and take the motion.
I will move to adopt the 2024 county budget.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. to adopt the Center County Government 2024 county budget. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Now we'll move to B, but I think you should probably stay up, Richard, just in case there's any questions on that. Item B is resolution number 27 of 2023, enacting a tax levy and rate as follows: a total millage of 7.84 mils on real estate assessed valuation at the rate of taxation of 78 cents on each $100 of assessed valuation of taxable property. And I don't know, maybe Steve or Jason or John or Richard know this. I think it was, what, we last updated the property values, and was it 1997?
Yeah, 94.
1994.
So our tax fairness still remains one of the
Reasonably
highest.
good.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
of the highest in the state, actually.
Yes. Yeah, so your actual amount of property tax you're paying to Center County government has not gone up much since 1994. And again, 14 years without a tax increase. Commissioner Concepcion, any comments on the tax levy?
Yeah, I think it's in keeping with the budget that we've presented, that it's, the amount of taxation that we need to support the budget that we're approving. And being able to do this without a tax increase while having really some of the most significant costs for county government are in personnel, because we're a people-focused organization, and that requires having personnel to carry out those services. And we've seen, a 15% increase in the cost of health coverage this year. It's a significant constraint. So this really speaks to everyone sharpening their pencils and figuring out how to get this budget to the right place at this time.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things that I don't know that it's ever happened that I can remember, changing the valuation of the Clean and Green structure here in Center County, and I think that really has gone a long way to help our farmers and stay in business and provide them with a little relief from property taxes. So I'd just like to give a big shout out to our assessment office. It's been very diligent in making sure that there really has been tax fairness in our county, and a lot of areas I don't think can claim nearly the success rate that we have here in Center County. So I want to thank you for that.
Yep. Fabulous assessment department, very good tax claim department as well. And we have great partnerships with all the municipalities and the tax collectors across the county as well. So it takes a very big team. Any questions on the levy? No? Any public comment? No? All right, looks like we can take a motion on that one too.
I'll move to adopt Resolution 27 of 2023.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 27 of 2023, a total millage of 7.84 mils, which is now unchanged for the 14th year in a row. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Richard.
Thanks again for getting all this done and a week ahead of time at that. Thanks. All right, now we're going to move on to bids and proposals. We've got two. One is for snow removal RFP, and Lee will cover that one.
Yes, good morning, thank you. We'd like to enter into contract review with Landscape 2. Of course, we went out for an RFP for snow removal services. We did receive the one bid back. Again, we'd like to review that, do reference checks and whatnot. Depending on timing and the size of an event that we get, it does take our entire facilities management team, and that could go into hours. And with that, it does, they're lacking on some of the interior projects and things like that. And should we have an emergency, how do we prioritize? What do we tend to? And I think public safety and entry to the facilities is number one. So, this is put together in a manner that we could pick and choose the facilities, sidewalks, parking lots, treatment, salting, and things of that nature as a complete overhaul. They would do it all for us. We did include Centercrest, obviously, with the nature of the renovation coming up. We probably would opt out of that one, but we want to see how this goes for the first year, go into a contract with them down the road and see how it goes, and then look, we'll roll it back out and see if we can get some more bidders going forward. But I think it'll be better suited to free up our time to tend to the facilities and have some other folks take care of the walks and entryways.
Great, thanks, Lee. Sounds like a good plan. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Makes sense.
Commissioner
It's
Booth?
going to snow.
Yep,
Yeah,
sure
it's
is.
gonna. We just don't know how much or
Yeah.
when. All right, let's take a motion then.
I will move to enter into the contract review for the snow removal services RFP.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of entering into contract review for the snow removal services RFP, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll move over to the Centercrest building in for invitation for bids, and I believe John kicks that one off.
Thank you. So, as you know, over the last 2 years, since we've acquired or taken back possession of the former Centercrest facility, we've gone through 2 phases. We've gone through a feasibility study to determine what would be the best possible use of the facility and from county's purposes, and that we identified as primarily being a human services facility, which would help serve the citizens of the county the best way possible. Once we made it through the feasibility study, we then went into design and included our team from the human services world to take into consideration every possible detail that we could think of to provide the best experience and service that we can. And now we are on the doorstep of the construction phase. And with that, the first step is to advertise for bids, and we are seeking approval today to advertise the project, to go out to bid, and we are looking to possibly post the ads on December 12th and December 18th, as is required. So the only thing we're asking you for today is approval for advertisement.
Great. Well, thanks for the explanation, John. If we do approve this today, do we have a rough idea of when we might actually be meeting with potential bidders? I know pre-bid meetings on projects of this size are real critical.
So tentatively, we're scoping that out to be December 19th.
Okay.
Would be a pre-bid meeting, possibly here at the Willowbank building. And then we'd be bids due mid-January, which would go to the controller, which is typically what we do at the county.
All right.
And then we would have opening of the bids at that same deadline, on that same day.
All right, are we going to do those by paper or possibly try something electronic?
So we're finalizing those right now. We're saying that we would need paper bids to the controller on that
Okay.
date, but we're also using Mazzero's construction management services, and they have a platform for managing the project too. So all of those details will be in the advertisements.
Okay, very good.
The
Right.
solicitor has the documents, and she's finalizing
Right.
those as we speak.
All right, yeah, just wanted to communicate to the contracting community if we're going to be working on this before Christmas, which it sounds like, so that they can free up some scheduling.
Yes.
Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Yeah, so, I mean, this has been a long process of ensuring that we have the design right before going out to bid. And, you know, having had some questions in the community about why this project had become a priority, I think it's worth noting, you know, Center County has been providing human services with, you know, really a lot of commitment, but in rented space that is not necessarily purpose-built for the functions that it serves. And this is going to allow us to really better serve our community. It'll be a building that is easier for people in the community to access in terms of just getting in and out of the building, in spaces that will be built for the kind of privacy that is needed for these kind of services, and really customized for the purpose of what we are doing to serve citizens. So it's also, I think, a fiscally responsible approach, because we'll have an asset then that the county owns rather than continuing to pay rent indefinitely. So happy to support moving forward with this.
Great, thanks, Amber. Commissioner Dershowitz, any comments?
I presume that this includes the provisions for the RCO, the responsible contractor ordinance as well?
It does.
Okay. Well, that's regrettable because that basically, I cannot support the lead of this bid. I don't think it's fair to our local contractors, and I don't think it's fair to the tradesmen that live here in Center County. And quite frankly, I think it's going to have a deleterious effect on our taxation. So, regrettably, I'm going to have to pass on this one. So.
All right. So we are putting out the invitation for bid for the Centercrest building remodeling, which will allow citizens to go to a single building to conduct all of their human services business instead of right now bouncing between 4 different buildings in multiple different communities that are miles apart. Also allows our elections office to have a lot more needed space because elections just become bigger and bigger as the population goes up, and there's always more and more rules and regulations involved. Let's see.
We're renting space in that regard as
And
well
we're
right
renting
now.
space in that regard as well, too, yes. Are there, is there any public comment on the Centercrest building invitation for bid at this point? Any questions, Gary?
John, do you envision the RCO factor, will that lengthen the review of the contractors?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's all a part of, it's clearly defined what the expectations are up front. The RCO itself is actually one of the accompanying documents that's within the bid package. And the timeframes that we have laid out for the project take into account the timeframes that are called out within the RCO. So we did not paint anyone into a corner with unrealistic milestones.
Does the construction primarily focus on the existing structure, or is there any demolition or addition to the existing structure?
No additions to the structure, minor demolition inside. So we will not be taking down any part of the building, but we will be doing a wholesale interior gut of the building. All MEP electrical plumbing will be coming out, interior walls. There will be better insulation, things of that nature.
Timetable, how long the construction will take?
We are hoping to be moving in by June, July of 2025.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate those good, solid questions. Unless there's anything else for the good of the order, I think we can take a vote on approving the advertisement for invitation for bids for the Centercrest building renovation. Do we have a motion?
I will move to approve advertisement for the invitation for bids for the Centercrest building renovation.
I will second the motion. All those in favor of approving the advertisement for the invitation for bids for the Centercrest building renovation, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. All right, then now we will move on to contracts and authorizations, and Norm from 911 has a couple items for us.
Good morning.
Morning.
Consider approval of the 6th grant award from PEMA for statewide interconnectivity projects with the Southern Alleghenies 911 Cooperative. This grant includes funding for the EZNet connectivity maintenance, call handling equipment or phones, call handling equipment refresh, shared CAD system maintenance, CAD workstation refresh for Center County, GIS post next-gen migration to help with GIS-related initiatives, and ILEC telephone post next-gen 911 migration to offset some 911 phone costs. The total grant award is $669,894.83, which is 100% PEMA grant funded for the period of October 1, 2023 to December 31st, 2024. Just got to echo these PEMA grants, regional projects and cost sharing saves the county taxpayers a significant amount of money by sharing these resources with our other SAC county partners. Significant cost savings to the county budget.
Great, thanks for the explanation on that, Norm. And as you mentioned, is this just Center County's amount, or is this the amount
This is
that's
just
shared?
Center County's amount this
Great.
year.
Wonderful, okay. So good to see that, and as you mentioned, this does allow the counties to work together as a joinder to receive economies of scale, interoperability, and potentially lower actual costs on an ongoing basis per county. Commissioner Concepcion, any comments?
No, thank you for working on this.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
All good.
All right, looks like we can take a motion then.
I'll move to approve the agreement with the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency for the statewide interconnectivity projects grant.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the PEMA statewide interconnectivity project grant, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay, motion carries. Do you have a question on that one, Gary, or the next one?
Is it safe to say the volume of 911 calls continues to increase?
Yeah, volume calls continue to increase. EMS is significant increase, I believe, this year.
And in terms of the technology you talk about, those costs increase also in terms of trying to,
Costs for 911 continue to increase. Because we're doing shared costs with other counties, it takes a lot out of takes the burden off the Center County taxpayers by giving these regional grants.
we've been doing stories on the lobbying to increase it, surcharge by the end of January. And some people don't understand in terms of all the costs in your requirement.
Yeah, the cost for 911 is significant. Anything we can do to get additional funding from PEMA and through the state legislation would be a great help to every county in our region.
Appreciate those questions, Gary. I believe at this point, your average county government is funding about 28% of 911, and if the funding is not increased essentially in the next couple of weeks, eventually counties by I think 2026 will be paying half the costs per providing 911 service. And just like we mentioned with juvenile probation last week, the state legislature a number of years ago promised the counties that the state would cover 100.0% of the costs of running 911, not just operationally, which they're already covering roughly 72%, but also for capital projects, which the county's been funding the overwhelming majority of capital projects for 911 for, what has it been, Steve, 15 years now? Long time. And of course, we're going to be spending hundreds of thousands of county property tax dollars in ARPA funding over the next year for needed projects for 911. So great questions, Gary. Thank you. All right, well, let's move on to the second item then.
Consider contract renewal with OnSolve to provide Code Red services to 911. Code Red is our mass notification service we would use to notify county residents of life and safety emergencies across the county, which could impact them in some way. The new contract includes a more efficient text messaging service and a date change to align better with our calendar years moving forward. The total contract is $12,129.70 for the period of December 31st, 2023 to December 31st, 2024.
Thanks, Norma. That sounds like great technology. Amber, any questions?
So this will ensure that in case there was some kind of devastating emergency that had a wide impact, that we would be able to get information out efficiently to citizens.
Yeah, we can launch it regionally, we can launch it countywide,
Okay.
we can launch it by town or community also.
Oh, good, great.
And Norm, just to be clear, is this, the Code Red is something that people can sign up for? In other words, if they want their cell phone attached to the Code Red emergency lines? maybe
Yes,
like
they
go
can
into
sign
that
up,
process. Yeah,
there's a
go into
link
that
on our
process.
website to do that.
Yeah.
And then you can opt in to have your cell phone part of the Code Red notification.
Yeah, both my phones have it. I think I've only gotten messages once or twice a year. But yeah, in the event of a regional or countywide emergency, this technology would be critical because that way we can get that information pushed out to thousands of people in a couple minutes.
Right, correct.
So centercountypa.gov, 911, and then look for the Code Red logo.
Right.
Wonderful. All right. Any questions on that, Gary? No? Unless there's anything else, we'll take a motion.
I will move to add the contract with Onsolve LLC to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adding the contract with Unsolv LLC to next week's consent agenda, do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. Great. Thanks, Norm.
Thank you.
All right, and now Jason has a contract renewal with Corn Ferry Actuaries.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Commissioners. Happy Budget Day. I'm here this morning for a contract renewal with Corn Ferry to provide the professional actuarial services to the county for our retirement fund. It is a 1% increase over the 2022, the 2023 rate that we were paying, so for an additional $288 per year on this contract. And this will be paid directly from the retirement fund as part of the administrative fees for retirement services. And just for context for everybody here, for what the actuary provides for us is while we in the controller's office compile the data, they do the final estimates for all of our retiring employees. They also do calculations for any death benefits for any pensioners that pass away, and other advice and services for the retirement fund. So it's a pretty wide-reaching effort. We've been with Corn Ferry for a number of years, since before they were called Corn Ferry. They used to be the Hay Group and moved on to Corn Ferry now. But we've been with them a number of years and been happy with their services and advice over those years.
I believe a supermajority of counties in Pennsylvania also use their services.
That
for
is
this.
correct. They provide good advice, and especially within the county pension law, so we're always appreciative of that.
Great. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Yeah, no.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I think their value to us is also to help us with our, what I know is the ARC, which is our annual
Yeah.
contribution into the retirement fund. And they always seem to aim, they always seem to shoot high, and we always get a little breather underneath that. So we've never been surprised by the number.
Yeah, that's correct. They do great calculation there, and they also do help us with information regarding cost of living adjustments for pensioners year over year, too.
Right. That's all part of what the retirement board's challenged to do.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks, Jason. I think we could take a motion at this point.
I will move to add the contract with Corn Ferry to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract with Corn Ferry to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. Great. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
And now Lee is back up with a capital project.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, we'd like to consider approval of the proposal from Gordian. This is for the installation of the approximately 4,600 square feet of the concrete floor at the correctional facility. Before you'll see, we have taken out the replacement of the 2 entryway man doors. That will not be included as we've gone back and forth on that project with Gordian. The price submitted for that, we have decided to do that in-house. But the cost is reflective of the installation of the concrete floor and the replacement of the rain spouts, and the contract total is $49,808.20. And we've factored that is in line with what we would expect to see for that floor. So.
Great. Thanks, Leah. I know the commissioners and John, and especially Steve, were pushing kind of hard on this, but we did manage to bring the pricing down to fair bed.
Correct. Yes.
And this is for the storage shed, so we're all clear.
That is for the storage shed. Yeah, and we get some varmints, some rodents and things like that. So this should help alleviate some of those issues as well with some of the equipment that's stored in there. Yes.
Right.
All right. Commissioner Concepcion, anything else you'd like to add?
No, it seems like this was a useful process in terms of using that bid system. So,
Yep.
Great.
Appreciate it.
All right. Looks like we can take a motion then.
I will move to approve the Gordian proposal.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Gordian proposal. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
And now we have Betsy from Housing coming up about approving an agreement for a new lender for the Center County First-Time Homebuyer Program.
Yes, good morning. So I'm here to seek approval of the agreement to add Providence Mortgage Group LLC as a new lender who wishes to participate with Center County's First-Time Homebuyer Program. As with all of our participating lenders, the agreement continues until or unless any party, either party chooses to end the participation in writing within 30 days. So I have Adam Weaver here with me. He's the president of Providence Mortgage Group. And maybe he'd like to share a little bit about his company or himself.
Sure.
Yeah, Providence Mortgage Group is excited to partner with the county. One of our focuses is bringing fair and equitable housing to anybody who is able to qualify, and really try to make sure that, especially in Center County where housing can be problematic with rising prices and inflation of home prices over the last few years. We feel that the Center County First-Time Homebuyer Grant can be something that really makes an effect. So we're excited to be able to partner with the Center County Grant to be able to bring that to as many individuals as we're able to.
Wonderful, and we appreciate your signing up for that program. And for the folks at home, the Center County First-Time Homebuyer Program is at $10,000, up to $10,000. Nowadays, pretty much everybody hits the 10 grand. Interest-free loan, where you don't have to make any payments on it or repay it until you either refinance the mortgage or sell the home. And it doesn't affect any of your ratios in a bad way. In fact, it improves your ratios as a new home buyer. It allows a lot of people to just get that last bit of money, kind of like having a wealthy relative who's like, hey, here's some money, pay it back when you sell the house, kind of thing. Anything you'd like to add on that, Betsy?
No, I just, I'm always very happy to have new lenders
Yeah.
come on. This is the third one since I've taken over the program that we've included.
Good.
And so always happy to see that. That will help more folks in the community.
Wonderful. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate your coming aboard with this program. And I think it's important that we have these, it's even more important than ever now, really, that we have programs like this, because affordable housing is a really crucial need in our community, and anything that can make buying your own home a little more attainable, we appreciate that work. So.
Good. Thanks, Commissioner Dershowitz.
Well, thank you for stepping up. I think in the process of this conversation that perhaps early next year we can have a sit down and look at the guidelines and the rules and the sort of
Yes.
Yes.
what the program looks like, and in view of the housing market and everything that we're dealing with in 2024, I think we need to look at how we can improve the first-time home buyers program and the qualifications to make sure we have as many people safely and responsibly participating as we can. So I think we'd like to have that conversation. At least I would.
No, definitely. It was on my list of things to bring up with John in January. So, yes, it looks like all three commissioners would be happy to make the program a little more user-friendly, and who knows, maybe even increase that $10,000 figure, because 10 grand does not do today what it did 10 or 12 years ago when we first offered that amount.
Even 3 or 4 years ago.
Even 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
ago, yes.
Inflation has changed the game on home ownership.
And lots of people want to move into Center County, and we're just not making homes fast enough. Yeah, good. All right, unless there's anything else for this one, I think we could take a motion.
I'll move to approve the agreement with Providence Mortgage Group, LLC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agreement with Providence Mortgage Group, LLC. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. Great, thanks Adam, thanks Betsy.
Thank you.
Now we've got a couple items for Human Services from Julia.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I'm really excited about this first item here. It's a contract addendum with Strawberry Field to provide for funds to provide additional community residential rehabilitation services and CHIP enhanced housing supports services in the amount of $243,294. We were really fortunate to receive this award. Historically, this award has been tied to a loss of state hospital beds. And this time, that is not the case. Kathy Arbogast has researched thoroughly and has the assurances that the Community Hospital Integration Project program, otherwise known as CHIP, will not result in the loss of hospital beds. So what this will do for Center County and Strawberry Fields is that we will have 2 beds in the CRR, and they will be used in either one of 2 scenarios, either somebody returning to our community from the state hospital, or somebody who has been receiving services in the community and they are to a point where these services have helped divert them from needing to go to the state hospital. So both things are really important, and allowing people to be in our community. And like I said, historically, the use of this funding and this grant awardment has resulted in a loss of hospital beds, and it is not this time. And that is really good news, and pretty exciting for MH. And according to Natalie, this is a huge, huge thing, and just, yeah, really excited. Kathy and I have been discussing this for a while. She's been educating me on why, we really haven't, these funds have had strings attached, and that this time there are no strings attached. And so we are really excited to be fortunate to be awarded this amount of money.
That is wonderful, Julie. I believe we're down to 7 mental health hospital beds provided by the state of Pennsylvania at this point. So we really can't afford to lose any more.
No.
7 beds for 160,000 people is not the correct number to start with. So glad to see that we're able to utilize some state funding to at least temporarily add 2 beds here in Center County.
Yes.
Commissioner Concepcion, any questions on this one?
Yeah, no, this is great to see, because this is something, when we've had discussions about mental health services that are available through the county and supported by the state, the need for local residential services is frequently cited as a real concern. So really glad to see this happening.
Tremendous. Commissioner Durson, any questions or comments?
No, it's fantastic news. I don't think it's a surprise for anybody to say that we need more of the heavy psychiatric facilities here. When they closed the state hospitals a while back, it really did put a damper on our ability to find proper space for a lot of our residents. And regrettably, 2 sounds like a small number, but it's a huge number to the system, although we could probably use 20. So that being said, we'll continue to be grateful for what we can get and move forward, and hopefully this funding continues, because it really is, I wouldn't like to say a drop in the bucket, but it's not, it doesn't completely solve our problems with folks that need intensive psychiatric care here in the county. And a lot of these folks literally are to the point where they are a danger to themselves or to the community. So it really does require this level of intensive supervision.
Right.
So that's fabulous news, but let's continue with the next one.
So the second one is a contract renewal with CARES of Central Pennsylvania. This is primarily used in our intellectual disability clients that we serve, and amongst the services that they serve is they do some assisting with employment, and assisting folks with employment and at the job, and is a really important thing for folks to feel independent, and to be able to, again, exist in our community.
Wonderful. Any other questions on this one? No? Looks like we could take a motion then.
I will move to add the MHIDEI DNA items 1 and 2 to next week's consent agenda.
I will second it.
We have a motion, a second, to add the 2 items for MHIDEI drug and alcohol to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. We have our consent agenda, which does include our liquid fuels and fee for local use funding. We did receive 13 applications from various townships and boroughs throughout the county. I believe they were pretty much, I think, except for one application, they were all outside of the State College area. And I believe the 6 we funded were also all outside of State College. But I reviewed them, and I'm in agreement with the staff recommendations. Any other questions on the consent agenda?
Nope.
No? All right.
I will move to approve this week's consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve this week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. Now we'll move to authorities, boards, and commissions. We have 4 appointments. We have an appointment of Dagmar Wilson to the MHID Advisory Board with a term of December 5th, 2023 to December 4th of 2025, and 3 appointments, so actually 3 reappointments to the Conservation District. We would like to thank Thomas Bolden, Mike Messina, and Steve Dersham for their many years of work with that organization and their willingness to be reappointed. And these terms would start January 1st of 2024 and go to December 31st of 2027. Any questions, Commissioner Concepcion or Commissioner Dersham?
Well, mine actually goes until I'm on a yearly basis.
Oh, you're on a yearly basis.
okay.
Your only goes till 24.
Apparently, I can't be trusted.
You can't be trusted for a full 4-year term. All right, so sorry, correction. Commissioner Dersham is January 1st to 24 to December 31st of 24.
Happy to serve, but I do want to say that Tom Bolden, as we recognized just not too long ago, has, 4 or 5 decades of
Yeah, it was
service to the
plural
to
decades.
the Conservation District, and is a very valuable member
Yep.
of the board. As is Mike Messina, who brings
Yes.
a wealth of knowledge.
And Dersham guy's pretty good too.
Yeah, once in a while.
I'd like to thank Dagmar Wilson for volunteering to serve on the MHID Advisory Board. We've been in a process of rebuilding that board with adding a significant number of new members to be able to better reflect the expertise and the experiences of community members with our MHID system. So glad to see another volunteer.
Good, well, I think we could take a motion then.
I will move to approve the ABC appointments and reappointments.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ABC appointments and reappointments. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. Now we'll move on to our check run with Commissioner Concepcion.
Okay, so on today's check run, the one that I would like to recognize is to the ARC program, which aids individuals in our community who have intellectual disabilities. And they're actually having their annual dinner tonight to recognize volunteers and staff who have done excellent work. So with that, I would like to move to approve the check run dated December 1st, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the check run dated December 1st do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. Is there any administrators report, John?
Nothing to report at this
All
time.
right. Steve, do we have voter registration reports?
We do.
Oh, okay.
We have 100,825 registered voters in Center County as of this morning. That includes 42,369 Democratic registrations, 138 Green Party, 601 Libertarian, 13,797 no affiliation, and 40,854 Republicans. That's down, the report is down 1 voter from last one, and with the inclusion of the 3,066 all other small parties, that's where you get the 100,825 number. The feature party today is the Federalist Party, and the Federalists have 3 members here in Center County.
I thought they'd gone extinct.
Nope, they're still holding on by 3 in Center
All right.
County. Okay, and I'd also like to recognize precinct number 36, which is Benner Township North, which votes at the township building right off Buffalo Run Road. And the total number of registered voters in the last election was 1,620. There were 730 ballots cast in that election, which led to a percentage voter turnout of 45.06%. And look forward to working with the folks that make it happen in precinct number 36 next year. And also looking forward to making sure we can recruit even a few more warm
Yes.
bodies for up there, because as we all know, next year is going to be a busy one with the presidential and state elections here locally. So
That
It's
will
all
be a
good.
big one, yeah. That was already
It'll-
like gubernatorial turnout. We'll have to see
Yeah,
how high the turnout
yeah.
is for
yeah,
for
we'll
a
be,
full
we'll be busy
presidential.
next year, I'm afraid.
All right. Are there any executive sessions to report or hold, John?
No executive sessions to report or hold.
All right. And the remainder of our public meeting schedule, we're running a little late for our work session at 11. We have our Employee Benefits Trust at 3. And then next week, Tuesday, Standard Board of Commissioners meeting at 10. And then next week, Thursday, December 14th, Board of Commissioners and Salary Board meeting combined at 10. Looks like the Kress has left. So unless there's anything else, I think we could take a motion to adjourn.
I will move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned at 11:05.